Welcome everybody to Advanced B2B webinar. The topic of today is the do's and don'ts with HubSpot CRM. Yes, HubSpot has been around for like 2 decades almost now, and there's like 150 customers with the system globally, and I'm pretty sure that we have also some HubSpot users in the audience, as well as some people who might be thinking about taking the HubSpot path in the future. So welcome everybody one more time. My name is Mikko. I'm from Advanced B2B. We are a HubSpot Diamond Partner agency located here in Helsinki, Finland. We've been doing HubSpot since 2014, and I think together with our guest Juho today, we have something like combined 30 years of experience working with different CRM systems and more than 10 years working with HubSpot. So happy to see you all here, and let me introduce also our guest speaker today. We have Juho Mattila. Juho is the Growth Tech lead also in Advanced B2B. Welcome, Juho.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here.
Good. All right, so let's kick off with the webinar. First, a short housekeeping rules. We are recording this webinar. It means that you will also get the recording afterwards. And this is our agenda in more detail. 45 minutes today. And like said, we are discussing the do's and don'ts of HubSpot CRM. Now, Juho will take the first part, and he will tell you about the things you should do right in HubSpot CRM, and give you really some practical things that will save you from many future headaches, whether you are working in marketing, sales, or some other function. Then I am going to share some best advices from my experience about things not to do with HubSpot. So hopefully with these advices, you get to avoid some of the pitfalls that we've seen in our past. And in the end, we have some time for questions and answers. So if you have something you ever wanted to ask about HubSpot, now is your chance. And you don't have to wait until the end of the webinar with your questions, but you can just post them anytime. There is the Q&A button on the screen. Just use it and submit your question, and we'll take them in the end of the webinar. Yes, and then there is a special offer for you who are participating in this webinar in the end, so please stay tuned also for that. All right. Hey, Juho, are you ready to kick off with the do's?
Yes, exactly. Should I share it from my computer?
Yeah, please take it. I'll stop sharing mine.
Okay. Can you see it now? Just to confirm it.
Perfectly.
Okay, good. So I have picked 3 the most important topics that I think that you should consider when you start to build your CRM. If you get these nailed down correctly, that will set up you to be a success with the CRM in the long run, and tackle most of the issues that also come along when you are building it further over the years. Like the most common problem with the customers that have used CRM that we use is that say that, yeah, we have CRM, but the data is a bit messed up and we are not exactly sure what is happening inside of there and who are those contacts and where they have appeared. So if you build it from the beginning with the right mindset, you can try to avoid that and have a clear system that works well also be in the future. So let's start with the first one. So first one you should think about is the role of the CRM. So obviously you will have many systems, many technologies that you are running. And the most important thing is that you know what the role of the CRM is within your organization. So the CRM is the core But usually then you have, of course, a website, and you have some kind of a e-commerce or SaaS service that you're selling, or whatever your business is focused around online. Or maybe you don't have, you just have website and the CRM. But it's important to define that what is the role of the CRM, how it should help this, how it should help the website, how it should help your other business, and how it will align with the other tools that you have. So most likely CRM is connected to the website, that you get leads there, you get the behavior of the people in the website that you can then use, and also maybe personalize the website based on the data that you have in the CRM. And also, if you have an online service or something where customers log in, purchase, or do other things, it's important to also align that with the CRM, so you have the customer data in both of these systems in the right way. And then, of course, you have other tools that are connected to these. Analytics, you develop them somewhere, etc. You drive marketing for the website that I have these arrows here. With those, you don't have to worry about that much anymore, but maybe you want to get, for example, the lead sources or the traffic sources also to the CRM, so you know that where the contacts that you have in the CRM came from. And really, this is the basic setup then that lets you build the other functions or every functions correctly. So obviously your CRM should be used with your sales organization, with your marketing, with your customer service. So then you are able to use this customer data in all of these services. So I really recommend that you start with this kind of a big picture and try to see and more importantly, also agree within the organization that what of the role of the CRM is going to be. Where is the master data of the customers, for example, etc. So it really, in the longer run, when you get more and more systems, it's also important that you keep this up to date and are able then to push the development forward as well.
Juho, can I ask you something?
Yeah, please do.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but I think this is also looks maybe a bit complicated. And I mean, obviously there are many different tools which are owned by many different people also within the company. So what's your best advice? How should you approach doing this mapping?
Yeah, exactly. So you mean that there's many people involved and they can even have conflicting interests about the system. So how do you decide, how do you build this framework? So I think the most important thing is to answer why in the first place, like why you are getting the CRM. What is the purpose of the CRM in your organization and how you are going to utilize it? Is it for sales mostly, that the sales is going to use it? Do you want to have the information about the current customers so you can service them better? Or do you plan to use the CRM data in marketing and want to have it for that? And you should be able to, at least on a high level, to agree in the whole organization that why you are getting the CRM in the first place and what is the goal of this CRM implementation project. Then, of course, I really recommend that you try to involve all of the key stakeholders for different parts of the organization. So it's just something that sales does and tries to maybe even hide from other organizations, or marketing does it. I really think that it's something that you should involve everybody, because CRM can help all of these stakeholders that you have within the organization. And as a third step, I think it's really important to decide that who will own the CRM, who will be the one in charge about it, who will make the decisions about it, and who will own the customer data inside of the CRM. So if you try to do it, or if you don't have a, how would I say, clear vision or common agenda within the organization, how you're going to use customer data and how you're going to build it, that's of course a challenge then in the project, and even more challenge when you start using the system. So while you are getting the CRM, involve everybody and decide who will own it. I think then you are off to the right track. So this is the first do. So think about what of the role in the CRM is in your organization and regarding the other tools. Okay. But then for the CRM itself, this is the most important thing to be set inside of the CRM. So you should know that what stage all of the contacts or all of the companies, all of the people you have in the CRM. So you just don't get there a lot of contact information about the people, but you really should know that what stage of the life cycle they are or what stage at the customer journey they are. So this is the standard life cycle stage mapping by HubSpot. So if we go it from top to bottom, it starts with the subscriber. So person who has, for example, subscribed to your newsletter, they are subscribers. That's the like the first point of contact with the customer. So you have gotten their contact information, but don't know that much about other than that. Then at some point, hopefully they become leads. So they show interested about your products and services. Then you should start to qualify them, so whether they are good leads or not, and at certain point, hopefully they become marketing qualified leads. So it means that with marketing tools, you have qualified that this is a good enough lead, that it should be forwarded to sales, and then it becomes sales qualified lead. So sales should check that this lead is good enough to start the selling process. Then it becomes opportunity. When you have an opportunity with the customer, hopefully you're able to find a common ground and they become your customer, and then advocate or evangelist after that if they are really happy with your service. But this setting the customer life cycle stages or the journey structure, that which part of the journey the customer is at the moment, it's really important, and you should have clear rules that what they have to meet in order to move to the one stage to another, because that then defines later over the years that you don't get these contacts who you are not really sure who they are and where they come from if you have a clear rules that how they will move to the one stage to another, and then you are able to all the time see that how your marketing is working if you can build the funnel around this life cycle stages. And like I said, this is the standard one that the HubSpot is recommended or has built by default, but you don't have to use that. You can customize the journey or the life cycle stages so that it fits what exactly you would or how your business evolves and how it is structured for different kind of stages. For example, for some business, this pirate funnel might be a better. So you have awareness, acquisition, activation, and then retention, revenue, referral. So this is most commonly used in this kind of a free trial or subscription services where the customers purchase or get the software themselves without sales process. They start with the free trial, then hopefully you are able to get them back to try the software again, and at some point they think that this is now good enough that I will start about paying this, etc., and then they become a referral hopefully in the end. So it's a different kind of a customer journey. You don't have leads per se, you have just people who start to think about using the software on their own. And if this is your business model, how you are working with, you should really in HubSpot customize these life cycle stages so that they would follow the exact structure that your business is built around as well. So it's easy then to see that how you are going forward and how you are evolving when customers are moving between these stages. And like I said, you should have clear rules what the customers have to meet that they then fall up into the right category in these stages.
Juho, another question.
Yes.
What if you have a hybrid model? You know, you're not going through the left path or not through the right path, but you have these both. Let's say that you are doing the pirate model to attract some of the customers, but then you have more enterprise customers at the same time, and you need
exactly.
So
so as a volume, so as a volume, most of the customers come by themselves and start to use it with the free trial, etc. But you still have a sales unit for attracting the enterprise customers and doing the sales offline. So this is a really good question. So First of all, I still would say that pick only one of these. So don't try to build multiple customer journeys or multiple life cycle stage parallel, so that you have two different kind of funnels that you're trying to attract. I would say that still choose one of these, or choose or build just one that you feel that is the most valid. And then you should decide that which one of this is primary. So I would go with the volume. So which where you have more people, generally you would go for that. And then of course inside of these stages there can be different actions happening with the different customers. So let's say that you would go with the pirate model, the one that we have here on the right, and you still have the enterprise sales done by the salespeople. So then when they actually become that you start the sales process with them, you can just agree that they are then on the activation stage. So you are trying to activate these customers. They have not using your software yet. It's just a different kind of actions that you take offline. And then of course, you should use the CRM to build a sales pipeline where you see all of these customers, where you see all of the deals that you have, all of the opportunities that you have built, and run that inside of that one life cycle stage. For example, the activation which you have chosen is the best one. Then of course, if you are able to make a deal with these companies and they become your customers, they jump over a couple of stages in the life cycle and become a customers immediately without free trial, etc. So you can do it. You can do it quite well with like this if you just accept that then that not all of the customers then will follow all of the stages. But that's how I would do it. I suggest that you pick one and pick the one that you have more volume, and then just use the other tools to guide it through these stages and make it okay that they can skip stages if you are able to get them to use your software without doing some kind of a free trial or something like that you usually have. Okay, so we have covered two. So you should have actually I have one more slide about this. Yes, because this is really important that you set this life cycle stage correctly from the beginning, because they are not just about data that how you have or what stage each person is, but you can actually also build reporting around this. So you can see that how your marketing is working. Are they attracting new leads? How the sales is working? Are you getting new customers? Are there more opportunities this month than there was last month, etc.? So you can really see that how your business is evolving when you are following these life cycle stages. So it's easy to see at the one glance that what you should do. If for example, you need to have more business, are you getting enough leads or as many leads as last month? Are they qualified as they were last month, etc.? So when you monitor this funnel from month to month, you can then prioritize that what kind of actions you should take that then will make your business more successful in the future. It might be that you are getting a lot of customers and you actually have the resource, the onboarding better, etc. So I think it's really important that you monitor this all the time, that how your whole business is evolving, and this using the life cycle stages for reporting is a very good tool to do that. And also it's not just monitoring, but for example, you can build marketing automation around these life cycle stages. So put leads into the nurturing programs, customers to the automated onboarding programs, have a different kind of a customer segments around that, etc. So I think really this really sets the base for whole of your actions in sales and marketing if you use it correctly, that you know what you should do, and there are also tools that you can use immediately to improve all of these stages. Okay, so now we have covered two and we have one more. This is a bit shorter one, but still important. Like I said, usually the problem is that you can have contacts, but you are not sure who they are. So now we know who they are because of the life cycle stage. But still, all of the contacts, especially those that are not your customers, should have assigned a person who is responsible for running that forward. So if you are doing traditional sales and you have leads, you should assign leads to a certain person. You can use this kind of a rotation method that every lead is rotated equally around the sales team, etc. But there's always somebody who's responsible for pushing that customer forward. It can be marketing, it can be sales, it can be customer success, etc. And then, for example, if the deal doesn't go through, the opportunity is not closed, you can change the person that will then continue the conversation with this customer in the next 6 months, for example, etc. But I think it's really important that it's clearly defined that who's responsible for each of the contacts that you have, either to do some kind of a marketing for them, or then by their own work drive them forward in the customer lifecycle stage and paths. So if you know what the role of the CRM is, your marketing tech stack, you have defined how you build your funnel, what are the lifecycle stages, and who is responsible for each of the company, each of the contact. That's like 80% or even more about the success of the CRM. If you're building these correctly, you are really going to the right path with your CRM. But Mikko, you can think about bit after the things that can go wrong with your CRM. If you start to maybe cut corners or do something like that, it might be that it's not that optimal anymore. So let's dive into those as well.
Happy to do so, and I'll take over sharing my screen. And there we go. Thanks, Juho. Excellent tips. I really like that. And now that we are warmed up, let's go to the don'ts. There we go. So the don'ts with HubSpot CRM. HubSpot, just like any other system, has its own like a standard logic and default processes, which are generally doing the job well, but with like any other system, there are some limitations where you would be tempted to do some customization. But my advice, number one for you, is don't over customize your system. And there are some really, like I said, good default features. Let me take a couple of examples here. The email subscription management, double opt-in management. Now, these are really some default processes in HubSpot, and they work. But there are, like I said, some limitations. You can't maybe handle multiple brands that nicely. And there are some limitations in handling multiple languages, for example. Or the double opt-in, that is only, let's say that if you have it only required in one of the countries that you operate in, but HubSpot is kind of forcing that to all countries because that's like a portal-wide setting. Now, there can be valid reasons to customize these processes, but don't do it unless you absolutely have to, because you will have to use some customized workflows to do so, and it's very difficult to foresee like contact behavior and make the workflows run okay in all circumstances. So those are a couple of examples. Juho already talked about lifecycle stages. You can customize that now in HubSpot. You were not able to do that a few years ago, and you might have been tempted to create additional property for the lifecycle stage. Try to avoid that, because if you and instead customize the lifecycle stage property, because if you would create additional property to track this, you lose a lot of good features, like the ability to track the timestamp of lifecycle stage changes, inheriting the company values to the customers, or some contact pipeline automations, to name a few. And one thing I want to highlight, so please consider at least twice before you start to use the HubSpot standard object for something they are not meant for. And again, if you have been using HubSpot for a longer time, you know that it wasn't possible to create custom objects previously, but you can do so now. So don't stretch the standard objects into something they are not meant for. If you do that, you are likely to end up in some kind of dead end eventually. if you do so. So my advice is that if you can live with the simple default process in HubSpot, even if it's not like 100% ideal, just go with it. It's often better to adjust your process a little bit rather than to force the system into your process. And so always choose a simple option over a customized one if you have the choice, because the systems, they tend to become complex anyway over time. And since we can't always foresee the changes, it's better to keep the foundation as simple as possible rather than make it customized and hard to adapt. All right. Hey, let's take a short poll here. This relates to my second topic. I would like to see your view, like who's using, why are you using HubSpot or CRM system? Like what's the main reason for investing in HubSpot or any other CRM system? Is it to get rid of manual work, to get better visibility over your customers, to track marketing, sales performance? You might be forced to do so by the GDPR or someone else or something else. So please, I give you additional 5 seconds to submit your answers, and let's see what you think about this. All right, can we see the results? There we go. 22% get rid of manual work. 56% clear winner, get better visibility over your customers. Another 22% for tracking the performance, and that's all. So really, these are the things that people are, why people are investing in HubSpot. So that leaves us with the second takeaway that I have, which is don't save in the wrong places. And what I mean by saving in the wrong places relates to HubSpot license costs, which I agree, it might be difficult to understand if you are new to the system. The beauty of HubSpot is that you can start really simple, and the core CRM is free. But what I have seen, people seem to be quite often pretty optimistic about what they can do manually versus what the system can do. And we kind of tend to pile manual work on our table, but then we are actually too busy or just lack motivation to handle those tasks properly. And if this happens, then pretty fast you are actually sacrificing the benefits of HubSpot for a bad usability. Now, so my advice is don't sacrifice benefits of HubSpot for bad usability by saving in license costs when you actually need them. Let me take a couple of examples. A very common question with HubSpot is that, am I okay with Starter or do I need to go with Pro? If you use HubSpot, I'm sure you were thinking the same question yourself. It's a valid question because it's an investment of different scale between Starter and Pro. But the way to approach this is not through your budget, but through usability. Now, a lot of you were saying that you want to get rid of manual work. You want to be more transparent, see the better results. And that's why think about these benefits that you want to achieve and approach the license investments through questions like this. Do you want to automate stuff? Do you want to, for example, rotate your leads to the right persons automatically? Do you want to set exit criteria to your sales pipeline to control data, reporting accuracy? Do you want to reduce some manual entry by populating some of the fields or by workflows? You will need workflows to do so. And that's exactly the type of things that will reduce some manual work. I already mentioned, do you need any other objects than contacts, companies, deals, or tickets? If you need, then you need, and then you most likely will need to go with enterprise. Do you need integrations? Now, you might be tempted to think that it doesn't hurt anyone to upload a few Excel sheets to HubSpot occasionally. But believe me, the time you forget this is almost around the corner. And also, think about what happens when somebody leaves the company, new person joins. All these manual processes are generally bad, I think, and they can be done with the system, not by human beings. And also, you mentioned that one of the key benefits is to gain better visibility. Now, if this is your goal, you will need some tools to create custom reporting, and you will then need a pro license for that. So my advice, not to overestimate capabilities to do manual work, and that's really a job for the system. The license cost is smaller anyway than wasted time or a sunken CRM with bad usability that nobody wants to use. And pay attention to the usability of the system, because a bad usability is extremely difficult to turn around.
What Mikko, in your expertise, are the most common ones where people, let's say, try to cut corners, or do you have some examples in their mind that they try to do it in a way that it was not designed to do in order to save costs? So not upgrading the license, but trying to do it in some way, customized way that would you talked in the previous point as well.
Well, to be honest, I've seen hundreds of very creative ways to do things in HubSpot. These are probably the most common ones, and there's actually one that was already submitted in the questions, which is how to report recurring revenue. That's kind of something where you might be tempted to cut some corners. There are some features for HubSpot in that, but let me come back to that in the questions and answers in the end.
Yeah.
Good question. Okay. Another poll. Who do you think owns your CRM? Is it marketing, sales, maybe customer success, IT, or someone else? I'll give you another 5 seconds to answer this, and then we move on. All right. What do we have? 35% marketing, 40% sales, 5% customer success, 10% IT, 10% someone else. It would be interesting to hear what are those someone else. But clearly, marketing and sales stand up from your answers, and that leads me to my third and final point, which is a bit faster. Don't make your HubSpot an IT project. And based on your answers, I think we have like a general understanding in here. And HubSpot is not an IT project. And I think this is pretty obvious, I think, based on your answers. But still, approaching HubSpot as IT project it really is a common mistake. But hey, CRM, that's customer relationship management, i.e. how you handle and understand your customers, your processes, people, customers, and only after that it is a system. And this is kind of a rule of thumb that I tend to give, that 50% of your HubSpot project should be understanding current bottlenecks, fixing your broken processes, and you should do this first before setting up any automations and any other processes in HubSpot. All right. now we covered some do's and don'ts. Hey, and I do see that we have some questions. So let's move on to ask me anything. So please, you still have time to submit your questions, but let's see what we have here. Question number 1. What if a lead on opportunity stage doesn't become a customer? Should we return the lead to previous status or leave it as opportunity forever? Good question. So you have these default automations that if you create the deal for a contact and then HubSpot is marking that contact automatically an opportunity. As a rule of thumb, I would say leave it as opportunity. Now, eventually, if you don't win it as a customer, then the other end result is that you can close the deal lost eventually, and you can set some additional properties there for the closed lost reason. And from there, you can see that, hey, this is an opportunity, but it has actually been lost due to the reason this or that. And you can set these mandatory fields into the pipeline so that the sales rep is not able to close the deal lost unless giving some kind of reason for that. Good question. Another one, does the sales life cycle stage equal sales pipeline? As the stages seem to fit both. If I understand correctly, the question, then the answer is no. The sales pipeline is really the sales process, and you can customize that any way you like. There can be any stages in the pipeline, and that's the pipeline is where you move the deal records, by dragging and dropping those. But then the life cycle stage, that's a property that is associated with the companies and the contacts.
Yeah, usually sales pipeline involves stages like discovery, making the offer, following up, etc. What are the steps in your sales process overall? That what does it go through? And within all of these steps, actually the life cycle stage is still the same. Like you have the open opportunity with the customer, then you can just track that different opportunities in which stages of the sales pipeline they are at this moment.
Yeah, exactly. But good question. Another one, how do you track the lead time between the funnel stages? And for example, when you create a new opportunity, how long does it take until the case is moved to a different deal stage or closed? Again, a good question. There is something in HubSpot that you can use for this by default. If you go to the analytic tools and sales analytics, and then you hover to sales outcomes, you have something called deal velocity. Now, this is a report showing you the time needed, or the time between the deal creation and closing the deal. So this is an average time, and you can put some filters here by the rep or by the pipeline or something something that you want to customize, or you can then also edit this report by going to the builder and actually doing that. But if you want to track, let's say, time between deal creation and offer sent, if you have that type of stage on your pipeline, there you need to create a custom report, and you need to use properties like date entered in the deal stage. This is something that HubSpot is tracking automatically. So just create a workflow that is triggered when the deal has been moved to a stage, then it starts running and ticking until the deal is moved to the next stage. You will need workflows, custom reports, and pro license for that. Juho, I can take a next one as well. And this was, by the way, about the how you track the recurring revenue in HubSpot. Again, there's a report for that. So if you again go to analytics tools, you go to revenue analytics, and there it is. It requires enterprise license, but it gives you an overview of the run rate. How much do you have recurring revenue at the moment, and how much you are gaining new revenue, and how much is churning. So these different colors are showing you that. And this is sometimes where people try to cut corners. This is, by the way, totally fine. But for example, if you are using, I go to the deal record on our demo account, and if you are using the line items, in the line items, you can see, for example, the ARR, the MRR, and so on. So the difference between this and the previous report is that this one is not distributing that nicely over the months. It's only showing you how much MRR you are creating when you close the deal. So in the given point of time. Okay, we still have a couple of minutes for additional questions. There's one. Can we please touch upon how the relationship between sales and marketing can be improved? In other words, how can marketing use details from the CRM? Juho, do you want to take this?
Yes. So how marketing can utilize the CRM data? I think that was the core of this question. So of course the most common thing is that you can target different customer groups with your marketing with different message. So you have people who are just leads, those who are already considering your service, you have existing customers, etc. You can target those with different kind of marketing. Then of course, if you have different kind of customer segments or product areas that you work, you can tailor again the message based on these different customer segments. If you work with small companies, big companies, public sector, private sector, etc., you can go as granular as you want when you are targeting the customers. The other one is that when you have customer data inside of CRM, you can use that data to create audience in the advertising. So for example, if you put all of your customers in a CRM, you can create a similar audience from those and advertise for those in Google, Facebook, other platforms that you use, and use this data also in other channels that you are using. So you can find new prospects, new leads that fit your existing customer criteria. And of course, this all of a reporting you can build around the CRM. So when you are getting, let's say you get a new lead, they become a customer eventually, etc. With the CRM, you can see that what are the channels, what are the marketing activities that generated the leads in the first place that then led to the customer. So you can prioritize and use those channels and tactics that convert actually the leads that become customers and try then to boost those. Compared that you just get a customers and you don't know that from which actions from the leads came from for those customers, etc. So you're really able to see that what part of your marketing is working and what you should do more when you are finding these paths from leads to customers. Those are the things that comes on the top of my head for those. Obviously, there are probably many more as well.
Yeah, good ones. I agree with those. Hey, sadly, we are almost running out of time, and so we couldn't have time to take all the answers, but we try to reply them afterwards. So I mentioned to you about a special offer, and just in the last minute want to show you that. So if you are considering jumping into HubSpot, or if you feel like your existing HubSpot needs a bit of polishing, we have a few offers for you for new HubSpot onboardings. Marketing Hub Pro starting from 1,499 euros, new Sales Hub Pro 999. You get it in 2 weeks after the purchase. And if you need some love and care and polishment to your current system, then CRM audit is the medicine for that. And the price of that is 999 euros. So these are valid for 2 weeks, delivery in 2 weeks, if you're interested. Thank you so much for joining us. It's time to wrap up, and please stay tuned for future Advanced B2B webinars as well. You will see a short poll in the end of the webinar. We would appreciate your feedback there. Thanks again for joining, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.